bad. What do you get then?
You get good company.
Oh, great deal, that's right. That's why you come to Singapore. Yeah. Well, the first two wines here, I won't tell you too much about them, were Allen's Cabernets and the Springplat Shiraz. The first one, the Allen's Cabernets, I can tell you now, is pretty much almost, probably 8 years in 10, my favourite wine out of all the wines we make. And Cabernet is probably my favourite grape of all grapes. I hate to tell you, even though it's going through a bit of a worldwide storm. It's coming out of it, I'm here to say, which is a great thing because there's a lot of Cabernet around to drink, especially now. People sell us everywhere. I've noticed there's a bit of a difference in the order of service here tonight on this menu, in that the Cabernet's at the beginning, not halfway through, and we've got two Shirazes on the two big glasses, which I, to tell you the truth, I've never seen side by side, so it's a first for me. I've drank an awful lot of both of them. When I say an awful lot, I mean an awful lot. Quite a lot, really. No, but I've probably contributed to the demise of probably 20% of the entire 2005 Shiraz Reserve.
So that's what we're ordering, right?
A series
That's what you're ordering,
2006.
It runs at the sales figures then.
Now it's slumped the sales figures pretty dramatically. But it'll let you into a secret. The Springplat Shiraz comes from 8 different vineyards, and the Shiraz Reserve comes from basically one vineyard. The one that used to produce the Springplat right at the beginning in 1991. Basically, it's resulted as a bit of a fluke. It's the same vineyard that produces the Duckman, and the Reserve Shiraz is now selected from a certain number of vines in 2 vineyards and a little bit in the third that keep their leaf right to the very end, until right to the picking, at about a good 95% of the leaves are still structurally sound. And what that means is when a vine has leaf that's really sound, you end up with great structural acid. And in central Victoria we end up with lovely acidity. And what you'll notice about these wines is their acidity. They're fresh wines, even though they're big flavours, succulent flavours, they are fresh wines. Even the Shiraz Reserve, and I haven't had the 06 yet, I've sipped the 05, but both of those wines, as big as they are, have some fresh acidity in the background of them. And they're hitting at around about 7.5 to 8 grams of acid, which doesn't happen very often in places like the Barossa where it's a bit hotter, and it's hotter at night. In central Victoria, in the middle of Victoria, north of Melbourne, it actually gets cool at night, and it takes a little while longer to start ripening during the day. Even though the days are warm, and even though the days are as hot as the Barossa, they get cooler being a little bit further inland at night, and they take a little while longer to warm up during the day to start ripening again. So it stretches the season of ripening by an extra week or 2, and that helps keep the acidity in these grapes. And what I think you'll notice is the freshness in them right through to the Duckman and even the Fortified, which is made from the same fruit that the Springplat is made from. There's no difference. It's exactly the same, some of the spunkiest fruit we've got to make the Springplat, some of the boldest fruit. And there's 8 vineyards now go into the Springplat Shiraz. Some of them are light, some of them represent fairly heavy flavours, but the balance of them produces a wine which has got great generosity in the middle palate. And I think what I'd like you to do tonight is have a look at that Springplat and bounce backwards and forth to the Reserve Shirazes, because the one big difference is the Springplat is made from French and American oak, and the Reserve, both of them are made from 100% French wood. And what that does is that it puts a tension into the wine. It adds tannin, which is quite different to American oak tannin, which can be quite soft and pliable on the palate.
Normally the Americans add more tension.
Yeah, that's Americans, not American oak. I like the way
We'll put on that.
on YouTube. actually has some very tight grain, and it takes a while to get French oak flavour and tannin into the wine. But once it's spent a couple of years, the wine's been a couple of years in French wood, you end up with this lovely, deep tannic background to it, and it's quite rich, the tannins. And some of this is various different types of oak from French forests. But the spring plant is a mixture of French and American, and it's not 100%, it's about 50% new wood. But that just means it's a little bit more available to the palate earlier on. So what I'd like you to do is bounce backwards and forth between the spring flat and these reserve wines, and just give me your ideas down the track. Tell me what you think about how they are more available to drink now. Because I think the spring plant is made to drink within the first 10 years, and I think these reserve wines should spend probably 6 or 8 years really in bottle before they're drunk. This is a bit early for these two wines.
Dave, you mentioned last time you were here that a little bit of Cabernet goes into the duck muck. Did I get that story
No,
right?
not on camera.
Not on camera? Oh, okay.
I don't want to go to jail.
We remember.
We remember, yeah, you were here last time as well.
100% sure.
100% Shiraz, that one.
Yeah, we're sticking to that story. Yeah, it's been the
That's what
label.
you said the last time.
100% Shiraz.
Always check. Always check.
It says so on the label, so...
Alright, I'm switching the camera off now.
I'm not the winemaker, I'm the lackey.
Because I love the Cabernet. I thought it was so approachable right now. I think it's gorgeous. It's just amazing.
Cabernet?
Yeah, just absolutely
And it
phenomenal.
It's made to be a cellaring wine.
I just absolutely love it
100%
right now.
fresh wood, and really the Cabernet should be drunk for
It should be
8
kept?
years.
Really? Oh, okay.
But this one, I think the result of Australia's in a grip of a pretty bad drought, and especially Victoria. And I think what that's done is raise alcohol levels a little bit on average across the board, even in white wines. They've gone up because that's the result of what happens when you get reduced rainfall over a period of time. And also it just means a hotter weather too has produced a situation in which these wines are actually a little more
Forward.
drinkable than
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing really, it means we
We
can
can drink it. Yeah. Thanks.